All right, welcome to Eric C. School of Learning. Yes, here is the Chromebook, the crappy Chromebook that the school provided us, which has a very tiny screen on it, very hard to read and see. So we're using the laptop that we used last year, which is my old Dell. And yeah, so let the fun begin. Hey everybody, what's going on? Long time no see. Hope everyone's doing well. I've got a lot of videos out there that I have to catch up on that you guys have been putting out. And yeah, I've been kind of busy with getting ready for this year's school. You know, kids in middle school now, so things are a lot different for her. Plus with the learning online thing, it's not as... the learning online thing is not difficult. It's basically the setup, prep, and everything else that you need to do to be able to have everything working smoothly. And they end up giving us a Chromebook, which you can't really see it or read it. So I'm back to my old laptop again, my old Dell, and they're using Zoom, I believe it's called, as a one-on-one or one with the group online learning, so the kids and the teacher can all mingle together and talk to each other and everything else and see each other. And that ended up taking a crap several times yesterday, so I don't know if it was just a clusterfuck with Zoom, with all the schools jumping in on it. And this is something that the doctor's offices were using too, as a one-on-one with a patient. And yeah, I ended up going through it a while back, and it was difficult. Either you can see them and hear them, or see them and not hear them, or hear them and not see them. Yeah, it was just a bunch of bullshit. And yesterday Zoom ended up taking a crap several times, and I guess it was on Facebook and everything else about it. But anyways, hopefully today will be a little bit better as far as the school thing goes. It's about, let's see, I think it's about like 8:20 in the morning right now. So I'm going to get a little bit of a jump on this thing here. I've got the tuners removed, strings are gone, bridge, tailpiece. I'm going to kind of give this thing a little bit of a polish up, and I've got new tuners for this thing. So here are the old Grover tuners, which I don't get rid of these. I actually hold on to them. I got a set of gold ones and I got a set of silver ones. There's nothing wrong with the tuners. I just kind of want to give it a little bit of something better. So I have a set of Godos here that are locking tuners. See, these are going to be a little bit of an upgrade from those. Different as far as having the bean shaped. I kind of like these better. It gives it more of a classic style than to have the bean shape. And then I have a shallower roller bridge that is, each saddle is individually adjustable to either you can go left or right, changing your string spacing. Not too crazy about it because it's not a something that's set. It's something you have to set yourself. So there is going to be some measuring to make sure that your strings are over the pole pieces on your pickups, and kind of measure each one of them so the spacing is equal going down the bridge. So what I got going on right now is I want to kind of give this thing a little bit of a polish up on the headstock, on the body. I want to mask off the frets. The frets are in good shape. I ended up doing the fret ends on this thing, and mask off the frets, or the fretboard, and polish up these frets a little bit. There's really nothing wrong with them at all, and you know, they're pretty good. Everything's even. The nut's a little bit dirty, so I want to polish that up and clean that up a little bit too. Just basic going through a setup on this thing. So here we go. Alright, so I want to get started on some of the polishing and cleaning of this thing. So the first thing I got with me is a pipe cleaner. Alright, this is not a really coarse abrasive. It's not metal. It is a kind of a stiff fiber, kind of like a toothbrush would be. What I'm going to use this for is cleaning the holes that the tuners go into. Okay, so I've already fitted the tuners in the hole. They're a little bit snug. Same thing with the Grovers. They didn't like just fall out. They were kind of snug in there. Well, reason why is these holes are filled with rubbing compound, and I want to get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is take my pipe cleaner and kind of go inside the hole over here, do a little bit of twisting up and down, get a lot of that rubbing compound out of there. Now this pipe cleaner works out perfect. It's not tight inside the hole, and it's not like touching the top of the headstock to scratch the piss out of it, actually. So what I'm doing is I'm twisting and going up and down at the same time, trying to get a lot of that out of there. And you get a pipe cleaner, hardware stores, auto parts stores, hobby stores. Hell, you could probably go to Walmart and find some pipe cleaners over there too. There's some right here. So as you can see, the dust that's on the headstock now, and I got quite a bit of it off. Still some in the holes, but not a lot. So I'm going to get my compressed air now. And then go ahead and see how it's going to feel. Oh, much better. Much better than what it was. Yep. Alright, so those won't be in there real tight. Put my pipe cleaner away. So what I got next is polish. Okay, this is a machine polish. You can also use it by hand. This is not a polish. Alright, if you want the new finish, get the once in a year car polish. I don't know how this stuff works. I have not used it, nor do I want to use it, because I trust the 3M stuff. This is good. This product is good for removing scratches, swirl marks, and scuff marks and stuff like that. I will use this after I polish the headstock. What this is going to do is whatever minute scratches that the rubbing compound, polishing compound put into the finish, this will remove. It does work, but this is not a polish. So let's get into this headstock over here. So I got my real microfiber cloths, not the cheap ones. Remember, the cheap microfiber cloths are microfiber on one side, the other side is something else. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's not microfiber. So go ahead and smear this in. Now I'm going to get a little bit of the rubbing compound or the polishing compound into the holes, but that's why I'm not using a whole hell of a lot. So when I apply this, it's not going to fill up those holes that I just cleaned up. It's going to put a little bit inside there, but not as much. Also, this is going to polish the nut as well. Rubbing compound works very, very well for polishing your nut, polishing your nuts. They just don't sound right. The only bad thing about it is you can get this shit inside the grooves of the nut, which, again, pipe cleaner will help with that. So I'll polish the front, the sides, and the back of the headstock while the tuners are off of this thing. Love the way this inlay looks on this. I'm going to flip this over. You can really see how dirty it is now. This guitar was kind of like new condition when I got it. You could tell just by the fretware and stuff that there really wasn't much this person did with this guitar as far as playing it goes. I'm hoping the new tuners will cover the old tuner, the marks that the old tuners made. Other side of the microfiber cloth. Polish that out. Flip this thing over. Wash the top of this off. And we'll go over it with a little bit of the scratch doctor. They should have made this a little bit thicker. New microfiber cloth. I forgot. It's a new bottle. Again, you don't need much of this. A little bit will do the trick. You don't have to put a glob of this stuff on here. And just polish it in. Then I'll remove the scratches from polishing compound. Make sure you rub it in. When you use this stuff, use it the right way. Polish it out. Bring back that nice shine. Alright, so next I'm going to put the tuners in. Alright, so let me try to readjust this camera because it seems to be off to one side a little bit too much. So let me move this over. That's a little bit better, I guess. No? Yeah, alright. So now I'm really crooked. Anyways, I want to get these tuners put on here. So I'll get my wire to stay there. Alright, so what I have here is a set of Goto tuners, and they're brand new. Still have the plastic on the backs. I gotta take that off. There's nothing wrong with the tuners that were on here, which were the Grovers. But I just want to upgrade to something a little bit better. So starting off, there might be a little bit of a problem here. Maybe, maybe not. So what I want to do is I want to install the Grovers or the Gotos from the back first. Got a bag of extra hardware here. And they should kind of fit right where the old ones were, the old tuners were. So help if I open this bag up a little bit more, get everything to come out. There you go. So the screws are a little bit shorter. Get out of here, wire, bugging me. The screws are a little bit shorter and they are a little bit narrower. So I want to check the fit of these screws first. Make sure they'll be nice and tight and snug. Yeah, they're good. Alright, so let's go to the next one. And it seems like they do cover up pretty good as far as the old marks from the Grover tuners. Okay. You want them snug in there, but you don't want them torqued down, so remember that. These were from Stumac. And again, polishing the headstock before putting in the new tuners, it's kind of like a common sense thing, because it's harder to polish the headstock when you have tuners already installed. Alright, so I've got some of the nuts and washers on my tuners. Now, I don't know if you guys ever noticed this with a lot of the tuners that are out there. These washers sometimes are different. The Grover washers have a beveled edge going around the sides of it that shows that they face upwards. These guys here have a sharp edge on one side and a rounded off edge on the other side, excuse me. So you want that rounded off edge to be upwards. And go ahead, there's a piece of hair over here. I'm going to get rid of that hair before I put this washer on there and lock that washer on top of that hair, and then I'll never get rid of it. There you go. And then you kind of look for the same thing with this. One side has a sharp edge to it, that's this side here. Now these tuning pegs are down compared to the Grovers, all right? And when I mean down, that they don't stick up as high, and the reason being is these are locking tuners, so you're not going to be doing a lot of wraps around the tuner pegs. All right, so I got these guys pretty much in place now. Now I want to snug these things up, not torque them in, but get them tight enough to where they're not going to be moving around, and they're not going to be sitting there and causing any problems. So I'm going to tighten them up by hand first. Now what I have here is a 10 millimeter. That should be the size that's needed to tighten these guys up a little bit. And you don't want them tight to where they're going to be pulling in the finish around the hole. You just want to snug these guys up a little bit to where they're not going anywhere. Oh, I just slipped off the damn nut. Always a first for everything, right? There you go. There you go. And it's important to use the right tool for this because you don't want to be slipping off. The only reason why I slipped off is because I didn't have I had the nut in the edge of the wrench, not the hole. Wasn't inserted all the way. Alright. That's it. So now I want to go back on the other side of this, and I end up loosening these guys because I want them to sit flat first. Alright, so I got some brand new Goto locking tuners installed on my, as you can see, they don't stick up much at all compared to what the Grovers did. And like I said, you know, you pull the string inside there, lock them, and then you end up you know, tuning them up to where you want them to be. Now another thing you want to check too with these guys too is how tight these are. Like this one feels a little loose, so you can tighten this up a little bit right here. Yeah, that's good. This one was a little bit looser. There is a plastic washer with a kind of like an O-ring washer. Okay, it's kind of like a rubber, and it kind of gives it a little bit of a grip, but yet still slips inside there. So when you turn it, and yeah, so I got them all even. I kind of like these tuning pegs keys a lot better than these guys here. I don't like. I mean, the bean is fine, but this just adds a little bit more classic. If it had the indentation on it, kind of like the headstock does, they just give it a little bit more classier look. So that's it. That's done for now. I want to get this fretboard, or the frets, polished on this fretboard, and that's next. Alright, so I'm back. Got the fretboard all taped up. I want to cover the headstock since I already polished that. Now, here is the cheaper microfiber cloths. Okay, one side looks like it's microfiber, and the other side has a different type of texture to it. It's not the same. So if I try to compare these two, I don't know if you can see the difference or not from one side to the other. So these I use as rags. So I'm just going to put this on top of the headstock just to keep anything from flinging around as I'm cleaning the frets on the fretboard. The body I haven't touched yet as far as cleaning that, so I don't really have to put anything out over that to protect it. Right now it's lunchtime over here, so the kids' online learning thing is at a halt for a little while. I think they got like a half hour or an hour lunch or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and make some noise. I couldn't do this earlier, otherwise I would have been finished. So I got a brand new bottle or a can of the mag and aluminum polish, and I want to start putting a little bit on the frets. Now this is another cheap microfiber. As you can see, one side looks like it's microfiber and the other side, this side here, does not. So I'm going to use this. Like I said, I use these for rags. And basically what I'm going to do is take some of this and put it on this. Now, as you can see, I'm starting to get a little bit of a black stripe. That is like the oxidation and stuff that is on the frets themselves. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're dirty. These frets here, there's no like divots, scratches, or anything inside of them that I need to address with the fret erasers or sandpaper. So this will be an easy fret clean. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start the polishing. Alright, as simple as that. I'm wearing a little bit of the rubbing compound, or not rubbing compound, but the metal polish. Not a big deal, so I'm going to get rid of this tape now. Get off my hands. So I don't need fretboard taped up anymore. Then I'm going to wipe off the frets. I used to be set against using the Dremel for doing this, but it makes it a lot easier, a lot faster, and I don't get my fingers as dirty as much. And the results still aren't that bad. Alright, so I'll be back again. Alright, so this fretboard, Pau Ferro, is a specialty wood. It's very nice, and you treat it kind of like you would treat rosewood. So I ended up doing a little bit of the Dunlop 65 fretboard oil, lemon oil, and now I want to work on getting the rest of the body cleaned up and polished up a little bit. So first thing I'm going to do is start with the neck of the guitar. Now, whoever had this really didn't take off the plastic on these, and it's starting to kind of peel up and look a little bit shitty. So I'm going to go ahead and help it the rest of the way to remove it. Pick up all this other plastic that's over here that was from the tuners, and I can throw this away. So what I'm going to use on the body of this guitar is basically the same thing that I used on the headstock. So I've got my 3M machine polish, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of just rub a little bit into the back of the neck. And when I say a little bit, if you can see that little drop, that's a little bit, and it's smaller than a dime. And I put it in there. You don't need much. I mean, I'm not polishing this thing out because it's got scratches and stuff inside of it. I'm polishing to basically bring back the enhance the gloss to it a little bit and kind of clean out the clean up all the fingerprints and shit that's on the body and neck and everything else. So that's plenty. I mean, I don't need any more than that. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of rub this in a little bit. Now I picked up a new wax that I've been trying out. I'm a big fan of Meguiar's, and Meguiar waxes always have been kind of state of the art and look nice and done its job. So I picked up this stuff that's called a ceramic wax, this stuff here, which works really, really nice. It is a liquid. It's got a great smell to it. Actually, it doesn't smell like a chemical. It's got more like a fruit smell to it. And I've already used this on my father's motorcycle, and yeah, I kind of like it. Now, I don't really do too much with waxes on the guitars and stuff. I have, but kind of, so now. It's more of just a polish and stuff. Alright, so the back of the neck has been polished down. Go ahead and rub that off. I know I'm just going to get fingerprints on it all over again. It's black, it's going to happen. But at least I know that the finish is clean, free of any type of impurities. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a little bit of the Scratch Doctor. Now for polishing, I will use true microfiber cloths. I will not use the cheap microfibers, or what they call themselves a microfiber. I won't use the cheap stuff for polishing. But for doing, automotive or guitar finishing, yes, I will use the good stuff. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off. I know it doesn't seem like I'm rubbing it into the finish, but I am, and I know I am. And you can kind of see it too. This hasn't been done yet. This looks deeper black than what this side does. I don't know if you can tell that on the camera or not. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the body. It's about the same, maybe a little bit more than what I was using before. Go ahead and polish that in. I'm going to try to stay away from plastic over here because it is hard to get this stuff out of the grooves. Once you start getting a buildup between the plastic and the body of the guitar around these pickup cavities, now I am going to polish this little stain out. It'll come out. Yes, it is. It's a little stain mark over here. Take that out. Yeah, when you start polishing up stuff and you get cracks and crevices, especially around like these control cavities, you get a buildup, and it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to get it out without taking the cover off. Oh, much better. You can see how dirty it was. And of course, you know, I got my fingerprints on the back of the neck. Oh yeah, much better. I hit it with a little bit of the Scratch Doctor. Use a little bit more of this. I mean, I've got a little bit more on here than what I used on the neck. It's a bigger area, but I don't need a big glob of this. And again, the same thing with around the control cavities. You want to kind of be careful. You want to rub it around there, but you don't want to get any of it in the cracks and crevices of it. Write this down. Move the guitar around a little bit so I can get it between the neck and the body. Kind of glad that this thing doesn't have a pick guard on it. Not too crazy about hiding that nice veneer flame maple that's on here. Try to get over by the control cavities, make sure they're pretty much cleaned off. Alright. So that's the back of this thing, and I'll tell you, it looks like it's brand spanking new. Flip it over, hit the top of this thing real quick, a little bit of the rubbing compound, not much. Yeah, when you're polishing stuff, and if you're black, it looks like it's hazed or has a gray to it. Doesn't look like it's really black. That means that it's scuffed. It's not polished. It's not polished to a high gloss finish. So look at that. Pretty dirty. Oh, cat's running around upstairs. You can even use this on chrome. It ain't gonna hurt it. Wipe this out. Sure, you get all the way in all the corners and stuff, because it looks like shit if you don't. Alright, now hit it with a little bit of scratch doctor. Again, not much, doesn't take much. Rub a little bit of this on the order pickup. All right. Alright. If your clear coats do not have that high gloss wet look, like it has like someone poured water on it, like you're looking at a puddle, if it doesn't have that look to it, you are doing it wrong. So there it is. I think I got all of the rubbing compound and polish. No, I didn't get it all. Missed a spot. Now your finish is kind of like, let me take these off because I got the shallower ones. Your finish is kind of like, you know, when you go and buy a used car, you don't want to buy something that's all rusted out and shit like that. If you're going to spend the money, you're going to spend the money on something that's going to look nice and you know, work the way it's supposed to work. And that's kind of the way I think of these used guitars. If I could polish them up or refinish them or do something to it, you know, you get a little bit more out of it. You get a little bit more out of it. Not much, but I mean, it's still going to be blue book value, but at least it won't be less. All right, so body is taken care of. Everything is done, polished up, and let's take a look at this shallow bridge. Alright, so we have the thicker posts here, which should fit no problems in these holes. Perfect. And this bridge should kind of just drop right in place, no? Alright, so I'm looking at this bridge, and it does look like that there is a wider side for your string and a thinner side for your string, so there is a direction, and this just drops right into place. Perfect. And I'll just measure out where this, once I get the strings on here, I'll measure out the string distance and be able to put each string where it's supposed to be over the pole pieces. Not so much on this side, but I can judge them better closer to the bridge. So here's my tail piece. Just kind of polish that up a little bit, not much, but just to clean it up a little bit. So there are some upgrades on this. I don't need to really do anything with the electronics on this thing because the pickups on here are decent, very decent pickups. The humbucker, ProBucker 2 and 3s. I think that's what I was on, 2 and 3s. I believe that's what it was. Plus, it has some options with the, push and pull, splitting the coils, and then you have your treble bleed. All right, so this locks right into place. I don't have to worry about that falling off. Next thing to do is just throw some strings on it. Check my neck relief. Set up my saddles to where they're supposed to be. See, these things kind of just roll back and forth. Check my action height at the first fret. Do a complete setup on this thing, and it should be pretty much done. All right, so that is the Epiphone DC-Pro for now. Next video will be doing a setup on this thing and getting this thing up and going. And who knows, I might sell it. I don't know. We'll see. Take it easy, have a good one, and hope everyone's having fun with this at home learning.